How you doing? This is Coach DeCarlo. Today we're going to be talking about no apology required. Now, why is that the title? Well, a lot of times what's keeping us from our greatness or who it is that we are supposed to be and called to be, we're feeling like that we need public opinion. We need other people to sign off on who we've been called to be. So I call this talk No Apology Required because, listen, you don't have to get anybody's permission to be great. And you notice on the cover, I use Kim Kardashian and Marilyn Monroe. And this is Kim Kardashian wearing Marilyn Monroe's dress. Now, a lot of flack has been given to Kim because she decided to wear Marilyn's dress, and she looked very beautiful. But what I notice about Kim and other people who are very successful, they don't apologize for who they are. And I want to read a quote from Shakespeare. He says, "This above all, to thy own self be true, and it must follow, as night follows day, thou canst not then be false to any man." What does this mean? When you're true to yourself, you're going to be true to everybody else. Now, what this doesn't mean, because you are true to yourself, that everybody's going to like you. But that shouldn't be your criteria for truth to yourself. When we talk about no apology required, we're talking about you being true to you. Now, in doing this, this means that there may be some relationships that may not work out. There may be some opportunities that you may perceive that may not work out because you're being true to you. I know of a particular actor who decided that he wasn't going to be in certain types of scenes and take off his shirt and things like that. And he was true to himself. Now, did that mean that certain doors closed for him? Of course. But that meant that other doors also opened. He was a great actor, and so he just decided the type of roles that he wanted to play. And you'll find this with many of the great actors. There's certain roles that they're not going to take on. They're not going to take on roles what's going to make them look like a buffoon. They're not going to dress and do certain things that just compromise their own integrity. I don't know who you're called to be, but to yourself be true. You know, as a coach, many in the communities, especially when we're talking about, metaphysics, law of attraction, and so forth, think that coaches shouldn't be compensated. And I don't believe that that's the case. I think that anybody that's worth their worth and they're providing a service should be compensated. Now, that could be a therapist, that could be a coach, that could be a teacher, no matter what it is that you do. If you're putting out your energy, your life force, then you should be compensated. Now, for those who don't believe that they should be compensated, then for them, that's fine. But I'm going to ask you the question, creators. Are you stopping your blessing because of belief systems? And sometimes those belief systems may not be your own. Challenge what it is that you believe about yourself. And if it is not taking you in the direction of where it is that you want to go, then you may want to change that belief system. You know, a lot of times we look at other people's belief system and we begin to try to make those belief systems our own. But what would life be like if we lived our whole life believing other people's beliefs? And of course, this is the majority of the population. But those who excel, like your Kim Kardashian, or if you're talking about a Jay-Z, or if you're talking about even somebody as powerful as the President of the United States, when we take on our own belief systems, it may not always look like the status quo. But with that being said, no apology is required for being you. Whatever it is that you want to be, do, and have, do it to the fullest. And understand that everybody's not going to agree with what it is that you're doing. You know, I've been told by others who teach, Neville Goddard principles and so forth, that you have to be a purist, but Neville wasn't a purist when it came to the teachings of Abdullah or even William Blake. He utilized those teachings, those skill sets, but he also incorporated his own. Nor did Neville want us to be clones of him. He wanted each one of us to discover God's message within us, whatever that looks like. You have to be true to yourself. You don't want to leave this world and say, I wish that I had done more of the things that I wanted to do, but I didn't do it because of fear of other people's opinion. You got to find out what's true for you and begin living your truth. A couple of years ago, I was in someone else's Facebook community, and of course, they had their truths. And my truth contradicted some of their truths. Now, because of that, I was asked to leave that group. There was no hard feelings. That made sense to me. If what I'm saying and what they're teaching within their group, their community, doesn't mesh, doesn't line up, then if I'm not willing to respect the rules, and of course I respected them, but again, like I said, I had my own opinions and I wanted to communicate those opinions, but it wasn't best within that community or in that group. So of course it was necessary, first and foremost, the person removed me as admin. Then of course we both agreed that it was probably best that I wasn't in that particular group because of course my opinions, my beliefs didn't line up with the beliefs of, the overall community of that group. That's understandable. There's no hard feelings. You have to make sure that your truth is true and truest for you and begin living that truth. But you can't force those truths on others who may not believe likewise. And if you find that that's the case, you can share with them, of course, your truths. But if you find that there's a disagreement, let them discover what's true for them and let them live their truths. Now, I'll tell you this, like I said, when you begin living your truth, you're going to find like-minded people that share with you the belief systems, the truth that you believe. You don't have to apologize for your individual greatness. God seeks to express himself, herself in you as you. And as I've stated so often, God is so vast that it requires presently 8 billion people for God to express himself, herself through. Your truth is truest to you. And those who don't line up with your truths, that's okay. That means they have to discover what's true for them. But don't apologize for you being great. A lot of times we take our greatness and we put it under a bushel. We do that because we don't want our light to shine because we don't want to offend anyone. But you have to find out what's true for you and begin living that truth. And what you're going to find is that not everybody's going to agree with your truth, and you have to allow that to be okay. Many people won't communicate their truth because, like I stated earlier, they're fearful of public opinion, and they're fearful that people that they love, care for, so forth, won't agree with their truth and perhaps even reject them. I've told the story some time back that, someone that I cared for reached out to me because, of course, she heard me teaching, of course, Neville Goddard and the principles that Neville Goddard teach and the law of attraction, the law of assumption, and so forth. And she said, listen, DeCarlo, I'm concerned about you, and I just wanted to make sure that, you're okay. No, what she was saying was that I was no longer teaching what she believed as true to her, and I need to get back on track. And I told her, thanks, for reaching out, but I have to do and live what's true to me. And my relationship with God was still intact, even though it didn't look like her relationship with God. Many of you are going to have this conversation or similar conversation with other people and say, listen, this is what I believe, and this is what I hold to be true for me. I'm not trying to convert you. I'm not trying to change you, but this is my truth. And this is the truth that I'm going to live, and be okay with that. Now, if some people decide that they don't want to be in relationship with you, you're going to have to be okay with that. Or you stay their image of you, whatever that looks like, and continue to be in relationship with them, but fail to live your own truth. So as you discover what's true for you, live in integrity, don't be harmful, walk in love, and live your truth for you. As you begin doing this, what you're going to find is that you're going to find other like-minded people that agree with what's true for you, and you're going to create a community around that. So whatever you decide to do within that community, that's you and the agreement between you and that community. Don't worry about what anyone else is saying. Whatever their truth is, that's their truth for them, and allow that to be okay for them, but don't allow it to dictate who you're supposed to be. Live in your truth, creators. And as I often say, that only you can create your perfect world, not God or man. Only you can create your perfect world. This is Coach DeCarlo saying have a great and abundant day. And remember, no apology required. Live your truth.